I'm Tyler Suiters. You're watching Clean Skies News, and with me now is a familiar face, Mike McKenna, president of MWR Strategies, here to talk political strategy and policy as well. Mike, always good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Let's start off by talking about some of your clients whom you're representing right now on Capitol Hill.
About a half dozen utilities, a couple of natural gas pipelines, a refiner, a couple of financial firms.
Okay.
The usual mix.
a lot at stake then with any climate legislation that goes through. So let's start first of all with the Senate climate legislation, the rollout of Carrie Lieberman earlier this month. Not much has happened since that rollout. Would you call it somewhat anticlimactic after so many delays in the process?
Yeah, I think part of it was it is anticlimactic because of the delays. People didn't expect much, and I don't think they've been terribly disappointed. So,
were there enough leaks along the way that you knew what to expect from this? The nuclear title, the non-cap and trade system, the debates about a gasoline tax, etc.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really caught me by surprise was that how similar the bill was in structure and targets to what passed the House. You know, I expected there was going to be some departure, at least along the target line, and there really wasn't a lot of departure. You know, when you do a side-by-side, they look remarkably similar. One
of the stark differences, though, is the advocacy of offshore drilling to some extent within Carrie Lieberman. How is the Gulf disaster playing out there behind the scenes? Very publicly, a number of senators, including Nelson, Menendez, and Lautenberg, have stated we're not on board with any legislation that includes new offshore drilling.
Yeah, I think in two important ways. One, it's obviously emboldened opponents of offshore drilling, and it's made advocates sort of a little softer in their voices. More importantly, it's going to make any energy bill, any climate bill, sort of a magnet for amendments, both pro and con, on offshore drilling. And I'm not talking about 2 or 3. I'm talking like 30 or 40. So, you know, it adds to a lot of drag in the water, I think.
How significant was the loss of Lindsey Graham's support here?
Not very. I have a hard time. You know, it's not like Senator Graham brought a lot of people with him, so I don't think it's very significant. I think it's, you know, annoying and problematic, but not significant.
How significant is this then, the June 10th scheduled disapproval resolution vote in the Senate? This is Lisa Murkowski's resolution that would, if not prohibit, at least postpone the EPA from the regulation of greenhouse gases, essentially taking some of the teeth out of regulation for the time being.
Yeah, the amendment with the resolution would vitiate the endangerment finding. I think it's real significant. I think it has the possibility of being the only carbon vote, the only vote on carbon that this Congress takes. We may have another vote on codification of the tailoring rule, but it's real possible this resolution is the only one. And let me say one other thing about that real quick. The Murkowski household, Senator Murkowski, has done a really masterful job in pulling EPA towards where she wants them to be. You know, the compliance dates have been attenuated. The size of sources have continually grown. Originally, you know, the tailoring rule came out at 25,000 tons and above, and now it's at 100,000 tons and above. So, you know, I think just the presence of the resolution itself and Murkowski pressure has been really important in this process.
How many votes are on board right now? We've seen, what, 41 co-sponsors spanning both aisles. What do you expect when this vote goes down?
It's really hard to say because there's about a dozen folks up in the middle and thinking about it. But I think right now you have probably 38 Republicans and probably 5 or 6 Democrats who are hard yeses. So we'll probably wind up somewhere between 43 and 46 yeses on it.
What does that mean for the future of Carrie Lieberman? Harry Reid has indicated there's a renewed push on his part to get a vote sometime this year. He and some of the leaders involved are meeting once the Memorial Day recess comes to a close. So is the June 10th vote especially significant and perhaps an opportunity to look into the crystal ball and see what lies ahead for the KL Senate bill?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be. If you think that Carrie Lieberman's going to happen, going to come to the floor in substantially the same form that it is now, I think you'd look at that resolution disapproval and realize that, you know, if there are 44 or 45 or 46 yes votes, that, you know, there's 52, 53, 54 no votes. What it tells you is there aren't 60 votes for any of this stuff. And that's, you know, the important part of that resolution vote may be the vote discovery that we're gonna have.
You say if I think they come together. What do you think? How do clean energy and climate legislation come together, or do they?
I think in a very short period of time after the Memorial Day recess, Senator Reid is going to conclude that an energy-only bill is a possibility, and Carrie Lieberman is not a possibility. And he's got probably 2 or 3 weeks in his calendar that he's going to have where he may be able to do something. And I think the the ex-agencies of being majority leader are going to take over, and he's going to think about an energy-only bill.
All right, Mike McKenna is president of MWR Strategies, a regular analyst for us here at Clean Skies News. Mike, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Memorial break gets underway, and June 10th looms as well. I'm Tyler Suiters, and you're watching Clean Skies News.